All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody had a good week. We had some crazy weather this week. Let me know if you can hear me all right. Give me a like. All right. And we'll get started here as long as everybody can hear me. All right. A lot of people waiting in chat already. So we'll start getting through all these comments. Morning, Sean. Sean says Kenosha was ghost town last night. Fish from 11 to 2:30 a.m. Got 2 steelhead and a brown. Caught one on a pink black furry rooster tail and then a black rooster tail. Yep. Well, yeah, you were out pretty late last night. I think this weather's got him a little goofed up. Earlier in the week, I think the weather was a little better for catching brown trout and steelhead. And then it got pretty nice out, and they don't like that. So, but I think you made the right move fishing late at night because we had really sunny conditions and no wind. That makes tough brown trout fishing. So fishing at night was definitely the way to go for that. All right. When pitching for trout at Kenosha Harbor, where do you fish? You climb down on the riprap, or is there a safe location? You can fish Kenosha all over the place. If you don't want to fish on the rocks, that's fine. Like there's plenty of just seawall to fish off of. There's a lot of public access in Kenosha. You've got the North Pier, the South Pier, the Short Pier back by the hotel, by the rocks there, back by the bridge, back by the docks, all that. That's all public access without rocks. So as long as you have a net to get down to the fish, you can fish over there. And there should be fish all over the place right now. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to fish off the rocks in Kenosha. Yep, like Sean says, he was fishing off the short pier there. Morning, Timmy, Miguel, Dan, Christopher, Jim, Tim, Rich, Jason, Mystery Man, Kathy, Dan. Dan says he saw lots of browns jumping, but no bites. I mean, it's, again, I think it was not the best weather this week. So early in the week, we had some awesome weather. This time of year, you got to remember the crappier the weather, the better. If it's really nice out, like, oh, it's a beautiful day, I should go fishing. It's not a good day for catching this time of year most of the time. But early, I don't know if for those who aren't local to here, we got pounded by snow. So let me grab stop filling my tank right now before it overflows. So I'll be right back in just a second. Sorry, I forgot I was filling the bait tank up and the high water alarm went. But yeah, crappier the weather, the better. We had that. If you're not locally here, it was a different world here than it was like 5 miles west of here. So here at the shop, I drove down here on Monday and it was like 15 inches of snow. So anybody who tried calling here and couldn't get through, it's because I actually couldn't get in the parking lot. At my house, we had like 10 inches of snow. And then yesterday when I left here, it was almost 70 degrees. So I think that weather really had these fish screwed up a little bit, but there was really good fishing during that snow. Now tomorrow's gonna get cold again. We should start getting into some crappy weather again throughout this next week, and I think you're going to see the fishing get good again. All right, morning, Captain John. What's going on, Rob Goodwin? All right. The best live chat fishing info. Thanks, Peter. See if I can get caught up with all these. Rob again, DJ, Lori, Matt. We'll have to skip through some of these just to get caught up. All right. Took the day off Thursday to fish Montrose Harbor at the Horseshoe. Water was dirty. 7 hours and no bites. Tried everything. Yeah, we had dirty water. And like the snow we had was lake effect snow. And that usually comes with like northeast or east winds. And the waves from that mess up the water just as much as snow, if not more so than the snow. But yeah, by Thursday, we just really tough conditions for catching fish this time of year. So I think the only decent reports I had for later in the week were all at night. And I think that's a good thing to keep in mind when we have like these really nice days, like we had 60-degree days. It was bright, sunny. There weren't any clouds in the sky. These brown trout don't like that, especially when there's like no wind. And like yesterday, there was barely any wind. Thursday was the same thing, like almost no wind. They don't like that. So it's a good time. Maybe just fish after dark. It's convenient too. If like you can't get out during the day because you work, just go out after dark. Brown trout will bite all night long. You'll see different windows just like during the day, but they are definitely night biters. And as Sean mentioned earlier, he caught a couple steelhead as well. Steelhead will bite at night. They're not as much of a night fish as a brown trout, but they still, like any fish, you can catch at night. All right. We'll get into what's going on at the store. Let's see. You think all this wind like today kills the bite for the browns and steelhead? They definitely don't like this warm weather this time of year. Now, if it was spring, we just had like the ice melt and first couple nice days early in the spring. Browns and steelhead definitely like that. But in the fall, they like the crappier weather more. All right. The stack of mystery boxes behind me looks enticing. Yes, there are boxes, stacks of boxes like this all over the store. So we'll get into that. Lots of stuff came in this week. We are loaded up on rods and reels. That is for sure. Yep. Like Paul says, I have a lot of unpacking to do. Yeah, what I have to get through, like you can't see the rest of the store right now. It's going to take days to get through it all. So it also gets checked in, but then we're going to start spooling up rods and reels. Lots of stuff came in. So, all right. What can I use to catch browns from the harbor? The cool thing about browns, I kind of go over it every week, but they eat a lot of different baits. So you can catch them on spawn sacks, tube jigs, spinners. If you're harbor fishing, the flying sea spinners are really good because they cast so far. Little Cleos were good earlier this week. In a variety of colors too, not just like the gold. Like I always like gold, but they're eating all sorts of different colored ones. Crankbaits, square bills, jerk baits, tons of different things. That's what's cool about it. You can catch them on, one guy might be catching them on tube jigs. You could be catching them on spoons or spinners. Sometimes they get really, fixated on one specific thing, but for the most part, a variety will work. So whatever you have, try it. You never know with brown trout. I've caught them on swim baits, like soft plastic swim baits. I've caught them on hard swim baits, twister tails, but spinners you can't go wrong with, especially with the dirtier water because of the vibration on them. All right. Having trouble getting the, there we go. All right. Morning, Daniel, Jasmine, Flycat. Kyle says he went to Indiana Pier last night with some spawn sacks. The lake was dead flat. My son caught a big whisker kitty, so not skunk. That's awesome. Nice to get big catfish. Something different. We're always out there to catch trout, but I always enjoy when I catch something unusual that we don't catch too often on Lake Michigan, like a catfish or whatever, smallies on occasion. When we get into November and December, I'll catch occasional smallies on my husky jerks. So you never know what you're going to catch. And of course, all the harbors have big pike in them. So they're also an added bonus. You never know when you're going to catch like a 40 or 42-inch pike out of one of these harbors. Adam says he fished Milwaukee Harbor Thursday, 2:30 to 4:30, trolling cranks, one steelhead and a shad wrap at the mouth of the river. Friday, one steelhead on a husky jerk. Not bad. I mean, it's just beginning, so it's just going to get better and better. All right. Morning from Arizona. Awesome. Thanks for watching. Yeah. All right. So, again, we're doing an Okuma giveaway. We're going to be giving away this Convector, the new Convector B series, the 30 size reel today. Big improvement over the old ones. Pretty nice reel. So we'll get into that at the end. And, yeah, I'll get into some of the stuff. I barely dug through my shipment. There's some new reels. The full lineup of the new Convectors are here. Looks like, from what I was checking, most of the new Diamond Elite Series rods are here. We got in these new, I forgot, Okuma Sapphire spinning reels. This is a really nice reel. I think I like this one more than those CMARs and the CMAR HDs. This is supposed to replace the CMAR HD. I have them in 3 different sizes. Very nice. So you can't go wrong with this one. So check these out. Again, I have to, if you stop in today, you're more than welcome to, but there are rod boxes everywhere and reel boxes everywhere. So it's a mess in here, but we're going to sort through it, and you can check out some of the new stuff as we get through it. Another new rod and reel. This is an inexpensive series of rod and reel combos from Okuma. This is the Outrax, and right here, this is just a small, like 5.5 foot ultralight. But they also come in long rods, like 8.5, 9.5, and they're really inexpensive. I think this is like maybe $50, and the longer ones are a little more because they're so long. But if you're looking for maybe a spare rod just to have out for bobbers, like a secondary rod, or if you just want to get into fishing long rods for trout and salmon, you don't want to spend much money, these are surprisingly nice for the money. So stop in and check them out. Right now, I only have the short ones. The longer ones are still on the way, but awesome rod and reel. So check those out if you're looking for something inexpensive. It's one of the nicest inexpensive rods that I've come across, actually. Lex says Illinois has invaded Kenosha Harbor. It's nothing new there. That happens every year. People from Illinois have been fishing Kenosha Harbor as long as I can remember. It's nothing new there. All right. I keep clicking the wrong thing. All right. So yeah, we are loaded up on this. These are convectors here. These are the convector. We got this box is with the line counters. This box is with the non-line counters. I got 55s here. There's cold waters. Somewhere in here, there's more of the Catalinas. Man, there's just so much stuff I can't remember. There's a bunch of new spinning rods. I haven't had a chance to sort through. We got in more of the SSTs with the carbon grips. We've got more of the classic pro rods in. The Okuma cold water custom rods are here. There's just rods and reels everywhere. So again, stop on in if you want to check them out. From here, I can see at least a couple of the new Diamond Elite Series wire rods. But yeah, these Diamond Elite Series rods are really nice. I think everyone's going to like them. I already sold a few of them, but they're pretty nice. So, all right. Did I get the ugly sticks for the clam predators? Not yet. I got to call and figure out why I don't have those yet. Hopefully soon, because I need some for myself. So for those of you that don't know, like when we're using automatic fishermen, ice fishermen, or these clam predators for ice fishing for the trout and salmon, there's not a lot of rods out there that really work well for them. There's a few, but my favorite is the ugly stick dock runner, which isn't even really meant to be an ice fishing rod, but it's this really nice 36-inch medium rod. It's super inexpensive, like under $25, and it is just the perfect rod for using with any of these hook setting devices. They catch a lot of fish. I've actually caught 20-pound kings on them, just joking around open water fishing. I've let my kids go out and use them for brown trout open water, and they caught 12-pound browns on them to handle them fine. But really, I like them for ice fishing because they just have the perfect action for fighting these big fish through the ice and to use with a hook setting device like an automatic fisherman. All right. When does the salmon season really end? Well, as far as like harbor fishing goes, there are a few salmon around. But really, as far as I'm concerned, it is over. Now it is trout season. So we've got the brown trout and the rainbows. They're in right now, more and more to keep coming in. And that's going to go all the way throughout the winter. You know, you can catch them ice fishing. And then first thing in the spring, as soon as the ice is out, that's one of my favorite times to catch them again. And then we're right back into salmon. Once you get to about April, in our area, you'll start to see the cohos coming near the shoreline where we can catch them from shore. Sometimes it's a little earlier. Sometimes you see them in March and February. I've seen that. But April's more of the sure thing. And of course, as they come in, we'll be letting everybody know, giving the reports. So, all right. Predictions make it sound like we'll have some good and frozen harbors this winter. That's what I've heard. That is what I've heard. So hopefully we get good ice. I don't want it right away, though. I want a little bit more open water. I really like to open water fish into December, and then after that, we can get into ice fishing. So give me a couple weeks of December, open water fishing in the harbors, and then I'll be happy. Can your machine spool up left-handed reels? Yep, it definitely can. It's not really meant to, but we make it work. We definitely make it work. So if you have left-handed reels you need spooled up, let us know. We can get that taken care of for you, bring them on in. Or some people even send me their reels to get spooled up. So if you're not local and you want me to spool your reels, we can do that. There's several customers of mine that live hours away, and I even one in Colorado, and he sends me his reels probably like twice a year or so. He'll send me reels to get spooled up, and then we send them back to him. So, all right. Any recommendations on lures for catching monster-sized stripers? In all honesty, I probably wouldn't be the right one to ask. I don't get the chance to fish for the big stripers. It's interesting. I have a local guy here that goes down to Tennessee and fishes for big stripers, but I haven't had a chance to ask him too much about what his favorite lures are down there. But yeah, so there's probably better people to ask for that. Should braided line sink? I use it to fish eggs, but with a fluorocarbon leader, but I see the braided line look to sink. Usually braid lines float. That's why we like to use it when we're float fishing. Fluorocarbon line, on the other hand, does sink. And if you have a fluorocarbon leader on there, which is sinking, it will bring down the braid with it. Like any weight on the braid is going to make it sink. So if you have a sinking line at the end of that braid, it's going to bring down the braid a little bit. So, all right. But yeah, if you guys want to check out the new convectors, stop on in. Want to see the cold waters? They're not that new anymore. We have those. I need the new rods. And yeah, I'll get into the fishing report. So again, we had a ton of snow early in the week. Just woke up to a mess. It was like snow is like concrete. It's almost all gone now. You'd never know it happened. Parking lot's clear. There's a couple snow piles left out there from the plow, but otherwise it's a different world. If you were out fishing early in the week, you got into some pretty good fishing. Then we had nice weather, and it got a little tougher in the harbors, like I've been saying. Bright skies, no wind does not make great fishing. But in those conditions, historically, what's worked for me has been using, if I'm catching them on crankbaits like husky jerks or Braxton fish, a lot of times those baits will stop working when weather gets really nice and you just have high visibility conditions. That's when I'll switch to like just plain old floating rapalas, just balsa baits without rattles, kind of a little more finesse. That works pretty good for me. And of course the tube jigs and everything will work. But again, it's always going to be tougher fishing in those conditions. But when you see crappy weather in the forecast, if you can fit it in your schedule to get out, that's when I would get out. Especially if it's snowing. Like snow gets these brown trout fired up when it comes to open water fishing. It really does. All right, let's see here. Thanks for all the help this season. The wife is finally able to drive the boat straight. Oh, awesome. Happy to hear that. That's always the struggle when it comes to trolling, is driving the boat straight if you don't have autopilot. So, all right. With the water getting colder, can I still troll with braid, or I switch to mono? Not a fan of fishing braid during the winter. The cold water isn't an issue, but when you start getting cold air temperatures that are in the low 20s, stuff like that, that's when the braid becomes an issue because it just coats with ice and becomes really hard to fish with. But if the water's cold, that's no big deal. It's just that air temperature. Every time you reel in, you're bringing in a pile of ice. So just keep that in mind. All right. Do Lakers also prefer crappy weather? I think all the fish do, to be honest with you. So that's just my take on it. Crappy the weather, the better. Like if I'm fishing for, at least in the fall, even if I'm fishing for muskies, I want some crappy weather out there. I've had some decent days when it was nice out, but I like crappy weather. The more miserable you are fishing, the more fun you're probably going to have catching. That's my take on it. It's cold and rainy and windy. Those fish are going to be biting. Do Lakers go into Kenosha Harbor? You know, to be honest with you, after all these years of doing fishing Kenosha Harbor, probably have done thousands of laps around it in my kayak and jigging and all that. I've never caught a lake trout inside of Kenosha Harbor. They'll definitely be right outside. And I know of a couple lake trout over the years that have been caught inside the harbor, but it is very uncommon. It's really going to be pretty much all brown trout and steelhead in there. Any reports out of Milwaukee? Kind of mixed reports. Like someone was saying earlier, they got into a few fish. There's definitely some fish in there. And there's definitely fish up in the river, too. So if you're a river fisherman, get up in there. With the runoff we had, the mouth of Pike Creek is a good place to hit, too. Do I have any reports from the south end of Lake Michigan? Not lately. Like earlier, someone said they caught a catfish. I haven't had much yet. So those steelhead should start running those creeks down there pretty soon, if not already. I don't know what kind of snow or rain they had down there where we just got pounded up here. But anything like that's going to bring those fish into those harbors and those rivers and everything. So, but yeah, if you guys have any more fishing questions, feel free to ask. And of course, thank you to Okuma for providing the rods and reels for the giveaways here. So we can get that. There we go. I was told, someone gave me some advice that if I block my face with the product I'm trying to showcase, that it will now focus on that product. That was the problem I've had in the past. So the reel looks very nice on there right now. All right. Is the root running with trout right now? Oh, by the way, we're doing the same thing. Keyword is Okuma. So for your chance to win the reel, start typing in Okuma, and I'll keep asking questions as we go. All right. There's a few trout in the river. It didn't spike up as much as I thought it would with the with all the runoff, but there's definitely some trout in there. All right. Find the next question on here. Will I be continuing the podcast this winter? Yeah, I plan on it. I just haven't had time lately. I've been busy hunting, which, by the way, that reminds me, my little workcation. So I've been working part-time here for the last couple of weeks. It's kind of my break from the long season. So I don't take an actual vacation. I just go part-time for a couple of weeks, close at 2 o'clock, and go hunting and stuff. That finally came to an end. So going into this coming week, I'm back to regular hours, except for Tuesdays. I'll be closed on Tuesdays for the off season of trolling. But yeah, so feel free to stop in, back to close, 9 to 5 hours like that. Just double check on Google or on Facebook. I haven't changed the hours yet on the voicemail or on Google and all that, but I will later today. But yeah, so I will be working again, regular hours. So if you need to get in, need to get some bait, we'll have it. We do have some trout eggs. We've got brown trout spawn sacks in stock. So stop in for those if you need them. We've got waxies, all that. All right. Lots of comments here. Everybody joining in. Try to catch up to the next question. There's a lot here. All right. And make sure that you spell Okuma right or it won't work. Yeah, the river is low everywhere. I thought that we were going to, with all the runoff from all that rain, that it would have been a little better, but it's kind of surprisingly stayed low. But I think we've got some more rained overnight. I think we have more rain coming up in the forecast, so that should really help the river fishing. Am I having a Black Friday sale? I will do some sort of sale. I don't know what it's going to be. And I might just do it instead of Friday. I might do it like starting Saturday, and maybe be closed on Friday. For what Black Friday in this shop has never been like a huge deal. I'm just kind of off the beaten path for all the Black Friday shoppers. So I might just decide to take Friday off and then have Black Friday on Saturday, and that whole following week have a sale. I just haven't decided what it is yet. So, all right. Yep. Feel free to share and like. I always appreciate that. It goes a long way with the YouTube channel and everything. A lot of comments here. Any winter tournaments? I've been kind of thinking about that a little bit. We might do like an online kind of tournament, something like with Fish Donkey or one of those apps where we don't have to kill the fish. Like I like having tournaments where it brings people in the store here. That's kind of a big reason for me to have these different tournaments like King Week. But I don't like not everybody wants to eat these brown trout, and I like to see them get released as well. So, excuse me. So I'm going to think up something. Maybe we'll do an online fall one or an online ice fishing one, but we'll see. All right. Does anyone get out on the main lake this time of year? I've been told 200 out of Milwaukee can still work. We were still getting reports during the week, or last week, I should say, of some guys catching fish out of here at North Point in like 30 to 60 feet of water, even 80 feet of water. There's probably fish out in 202, but then after we had that snow, I didn't really get any more fishing reports. All right. All right. Yep, Small Business Saturday. We'll do something like that. A lot of comments here. See if there's any more questions. I think we'll wrap it up. It's about ready to. There's people waiting to get in the store. So, all right, we'll choose a winner here. We have 99 entries so far, and the winner is Magdalena. So Magdalena, please comment here and then give us a call at the shop. Make sure you're still watching. So please comment on here to make sure you're watching, and we can arrange for you to pick up this reel. Yep, awesome. So, hey, Magdalena, give me a call at the shop here. The number is 224-789-7627, and then we can figure out how to get this reel to you. So thanks for watching, everybody. Good luck fishing. I think fishing's going to be better this coming week with the colder and a little bit crappier weather. And if you guys need anything, like I said, we are fully loaded with a ton of Okuma gear. It's a great time to set up a boat. I had a guy stop in yesterday. He's setting up a boat from scratch, so it's a great time to do that. And we'll see you again next week when we give away another Diamond Elite Series rod. So have a good one, guys.